Okay, good afternoon. Welcome everyone to today's advisor forum. My name is Ross Hawkins. I'm the director of the Academic Advising and Transfer Center here at Missouri State. I'm excited that we have so many participants joining us today for this advisor forum. This is the first advisor forum in the fall 2022 series. Please help me spread the word about future advisor forums the remainder of the semester. You can find that information on the Academic Advising and Transfer Center website, as well as our Facebook page. If you do follow the Academic Advising and Transfer Center on Facebook, there will also be reminders inside Missouri State. So today's advisor forum, What's New in Advising, is being facilitated by Justin Johns. Justin is new to the Academic Advising and Transfer Center. He began a couple months ago in the role of Associate Director. We are excited to have him as part of the Academic Advising and Transfer Center and as part of the advising community at Missouri State. Justin is going to lead this advisor forum. Again, one final reminder, if you are wishing to receive Master Advisor credit for today's session, please enter your name and your department in the chat feature. So again, thank you all for being here. Justin, I will turn it over to you.
All right, thanks, Ross. My name is Justin Johns. I'm the Associate Director here in the Academic Advising and Transfer Center. I think it's only fitting, given the title of this forum, What's New in Advising, that myself being new to the advising community, I get to lead this discussion today. I'm not new to Missouri State. I may be familiar to a couple of you. I've worked for 10 years in the counseling center, but then again, recently stepped into this role. Real quick, a couple housekeeping items. If you have questions, please utilize the chat feature, and at the end of our discussion in our presenters, we will get to those questions with time permits. Also, after today's forum, you will receive an email with some handouts from our presenters with some more information that they'd like to provide you. So today we have 5 presenters today, including 4 academic departments and then a representative from our counseling center who are here to discuss some new things that are essential for academic advisors, but keep in mind this isn't an exhaustive list of what's new on campus. Again, our presenters today are Dr. Weaver with the English department, Dr. Hall with the gerontology program, Dr. Novotny with nutrition and dietetics, Dr. Berkowitz with religious studies, and then finally the assistant director of the counseling center, Tammy Dixon. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Weaver to share a little bit of information about the English department and what's new over there.
Thanks, Justin. Glad to be here. I'm going to go ahead and share screen with all of you. Let's see if we can get this so everybody will be able to see it. Okay, so those of you that I haven't had a chance to meet, I'm Dr. Margaret Weaver. I'm the Director of Composition here at Missouri State University. And we've got some new things that have been rolled out very recently. And I know many people have questions about them. And I'm going to see if I can try to field some of those questions with this presentation. And again, as Justin mentioned, feel free to put questions in the chat if I don't address some of your questions right up front with the presentation. So most of you are very familiar with general education. There is one of the requirements in one of the areas for written communication and information literacy. And right now at the university, we have 3 different pathways students can take. Most of you are very familiar with the first path, which is having students enroll in English 110, Writing 1, which is a 3-hour class. For years, we've also had a second path that students can take English 100, which is an introduction to college composition course, which is 3 hours. And then in a next semester or a future semester, they could take English 110 for 3 hours. Some of you recall that over the last couple of years, we've had something called the co-requisite that essentially allowed students to take English 100 and 110 concurrently. Now we've gone through the curricular process and we actually have a new class called English 105, Writing 1 with Studio. It's a 5-hour class. It's essentially English 110 with an additional 2-hour component that provides some more individualized instruction and scaffolding activities for the students in that class. Okay. All of these are pathways that students can take to meet that writing, communication, and information literacy requirement that they have. The placement happens automatically in Banner. So as an advisor, it will automatically appear if you simply look in test scores, okay? And that placement appears according to a variety of different ways. So a student may have an ACT or SAT score, and that will automatically pop up what placement's recommended for the student. They may have an IELTS score. This is for our international students that will place them. And then we have other students that will not have ACT or SAT scores. This is becoming more and more common across universities in the United States. And so what we've done here, very similar to what other institutions do, we have an online directed self-placement for students without ACT or SAT scores. And let me pause there just a second. I want to emphasize it's different from math placement. Students may come in with a math score for an ACT, okay? And if they do not like their score, they can then take the placement test that we have here on campus. That is not the case for English placement. If they have an ACT or SAT score, they are automatically placed and there's no appeal for that. However, what we're trying to do is get at the students who do not have any placement scores by ACT or SAT. Those are the students to direct to the online directed self-placement. So if you're advising a student and no recommendation appears under test scores, what I would recommend is you direct the student to that online directed self-placement, or you can contact me directly and I'm happy to work with the student. I'm finding that many of our international students actually do have ACT or SAT scores, but they have not actually been sent to the university. So if the student contacts me directly and actually can show the placement, the ACT or SAT placement score, I can automatically place them into a class, even if the score is not on file with the university. Those of you that are not familiar with where this placement appears, the online directed self-placement, you can get to it if you simply search for general education placement or English placement. This is what the website looks like, the web page, and you can see right here, if they simply click on this link, it takes them directly to the self-placement exam. And it's about a 15-minute placement. And the students are simply asked questions about their past writing experiences, how much writing they've done, the different genres that they've written in. And it gives us a good sense of how to place the student, which of the pathways would be the best for that particular student. Students can also receive credit for writing one, bring in credit. Some students will bring in credit through the advanced placement that they've taken at the high school level. And I know one of the questions we've often get asked, we've had a 4 required for advanced placement in English 110 to receive credit for English 110. The state just changed those requirements. It's now a 3. Any student that comes in with a advanced placement test score of a 3 automatically receives credit for writing 1. Students can also receive credit for writing 1 through the International Baccalaureate exam. That they need a 4 for. And again, you can find all of this information. Let me flip back here, right over here. All of these scores that I'm talking about, you can find. They can also CLEP out of writing 1. They may bring in dual credit for writing 1 or transfer credit for writing 1. That's all that I have to share about what's new. That's my email, my phone number. I'm happy to talk with any of you if you have questions, but we're very excited to provide several different pathways for students. We recognize that some students need a little bit more flexibility and may need a little bit more writing assistance throughout the process. Some need a little bit less. So we're trying to meet the needs of all of our students.
Thank you, Dr. Weaver, for sharing that important information. Just as a reminder, if you do have questions, we're going to try to get to those at the end of our presentations today, so utilize the chat feature. Now I want to bring to, I was going to say the stage, but the screen, Dr. Hall with the gerontology program.
Hi there, everybody. It's a nice turnout, 47, 48 people. That's great. So yes, my name is Lisa Hall, and I coordinate the gerontology program. The gerontology program is located in the psychology department in the Macquarie College of Health and Human Services. And the gerontology program has been around at Missouri State University since the 80s. So please raise your hand if you know of the gerontology program, if you're familiar with it. Okay, of course, I can't see all 48, but I see several hands on the screen. So that's really good because we're sometimes called a best kept secret. We're not always familiar to people on campus or in the community. And often people do not even know the word gerontology. So it's the study of aging and working with older adults and its practical application. We're all aging, so this is not a program just for people who are older or who know they want to work in stereotypical older adult places such as a skilled nursing home, but that's the kind of stereotypes that we kind of work against. So I'm wearing a t-shirt today. You can see encourage inclusivity with age in bold. If anybody wants one of these shirts, I have more of them, so let me know. The reason I have these t-shirts is because about a year ago, we became an age-friendly university. And that doesn't just mean that we keep the sidewalks flat or that we have elevators or something like that. It means that we recognize people of all ages on our campus, and we interact and we learn from one another and the different life stages that we're in. It means that we hope to have students of all ages in the classroom. It means we hope to have staff and faculty and administrators who are of all ages. And we can tap into our strengths at those given life stages and amount of experience and work together. So that's something that's new that relates to gerontology. We are an age-friendly university. Again, if you want a t-shirt, let me know. So what is new in the gerontology program? Even though we've been around since the 80s, we have never had a gen ed class. We've never had a class in general education. That might be why a lot of people aren't familiar with us. So yeah, our courses were 300, 400, 500 level. And, we spent more of our focus on having an in-depth practicum for our students and a research seminar. We finally decided to go ahead and build that 100 level gen ed course. And instead of just having it be intro to gerontology and having it in social sciences, we decided to tap into some other great things about the multidisciplinarity of gerontology. We decided to put it in the public affairs section of gen ed. And so it's in cultural competence. So the course is GER 180. It's called Successful Aging. Now in the field, there are lots of other phrases for successful aging. Sometimes it's productive aging, healthy aging. But what we do in this course is we certainly help students understand that age, like race, ethnicity, religion, and many other factors, is actually something that we should have cultural competence about. Again, when we grow up in different eras, we use different language, we get used to different laws, different practices, different, pop culture. And so we really do have almost different cultures, especially since we have seen technology, really explode. It's just exponential progress lately. So in order to avoid that generation gap, we want to think about how we can successfully age. And part of that is by interacting with people of all ages. So there's a high impact learning part of this course, and it is actually encouraging students, no matter what their age is, to find someone who's 45 to 50 years different than their own age. So if it's an older student, it's going to be someone younger. If it's a quote traditional student, then they're looking for an older adult. And they meet in intergenerational interaction. They have conversations. These are recorded so that I can listen to their interactions and give them feedback. This day and age where we seem to be divided, maybe not only generationally, but in all kinds of values and politics and social issues, we have tended to shut down and not have discourse because we're afraid we're going to say the wrong thing. So this high impact learning that's built into this course is really encouraging people of different generations to share their ideas. It is guided. The first couple of sessions, they're able to talk about whatever they wish, whatever they're comfortable with, whatever they want to learn about, but the next two are guided. So there are some guidelines and boundaries. The other part about this course also is the personal goal setting aspects that students can partake in. They keep lifestyle logs. And not just about diet and exercise. We know those things can help us live longer, but it's also social aspects. Who is your friend group? How much time do you spend with them? How do you feel when you socialize? Does it energize you or does it wear you out? And so students are taught several good practices, and then they're able to set their own goals. And I've had good feedback so far. I taught this for the first time in the summer of 21. That was kind of a pilot and got really good feedback. We took pre and post tests and realized that students definitely overcame some of their stereotypes. They learned to think of themselves as aging beings and having some agency in how they age, and setting, again, all kinds of goals for today and the years to come. I guess one other thing about this course that is pretty neat is the Gerontological Society of America has an online certification program called Ageism First Aid. And so instead of buying a textbook, students spend $15 and they're able to go through this 3-module Ageism First Aid. And so it really wakes students up to the fact that every day we experience quite a bit of ageism, and often it is aging people who participate in it the most. And so we're learning to try to not self-deprecate and to focus on the healthy aspects of aging, the positive and creative aspects of the things you can celebrate. So yeah, I think those are the 3 pretty cool aspects of the course. I've been teaching it this semester for the first time, not as a pilot. It is online. I met with all 25 students over Zoom, and I got a lot of positive feedback already. They like learning what is good for them and what can be good for them going forward. And they like the idea of setting their own goals, having some choices. So the course is flexible when it comes to that part. Okay, one other thing that we have new that's in the gerontology program is a certificate. It's called the Gerontology Certificate. It's 12 credits. And the GER 180 course is the required course, and then there are options in the next 3 categories. And students are able to take it completely online if they wish to. So because we have courses that are online in each of the 4 sections they can choose from, it is possible to do it online, but you could also do it 1 course online and then 3 seated if you wanted to. The certificate and also our minor, which we've had for a very long time, those really go with any major because, again, gerontology is interdisciplinary. It's something that happens to all of us. And so it's good for students in terms of their own personal aging, for helping with their parents or their grandparents, or if they plan to have a career working with those who are aging or who are older adults. So please promote that GER 180 course in the cultural competence area of Gen Ed, and also keep in mind that we have the certificate.
Thank you, Dr. Hall, for sharing that great information. I got to make sure I get one of those shirts. I'm now going to pass it on to Dr. Novotny with Nutrition and Dietetics, who's going to share a little bit about a new course offering over there.
All right. Hi, everybody. Good to have you here. My name is Daniela Novotny, and I am a faculty member in nutrition. And today I'm going to talk to you about a new course that we are offering this semester, as well as a couple of our certificates. So the course itself is DTN 130, Social and Behavioral Applications of Human Nutrition. This is our first semester of offering the course as a general education one, and we're very excited for this course. So I wanted to, let me get on my next slide here. I'll show you where it falls. So this is the Gen Ed worksheet, which I trust many of you are quite comfortable with. On page 2, you'll see we are located Social and Behavioral Sciences, and I've highlighted where we are. And then in terms of the course itself, I did want to talk a little bit about this course. Many times nutrition is thought of as a science in terms of a human life science. However, this is a unique course in that we're really looking in this course at the multitude of factors that influence what and why we eat. And we like to look at this when we describe this course to others as the things that are occurring before the bite. So in essence, before the bite of food, what all is occurring to lead us to that particular bite of food. So not so much the after or what's occurring in the body and health and this and that, but more of the before. So some examples of this would be socioeconomic status. We know that's a huge, huge driver. The food industry in and of itself, and marketing, social media, that's huge right now. Certainly things like social customs, the environment in which we're raised, and even things like public policy are all, just to name a few, influences upon what we're eating. So our goal in this course is to really look at those topics. We're in week 4 now, and I gotta say it's going really, really well. And I think we've had several students in the course have some aha moments where they've realized, oh, what I'm eating isn't necessarily just my choice. There's these outside influences that have affected where we all are. Other topics we talk about in the course, we really look at differentiating facts from fiction. There's so much nutrition misinformation out there. So we try to address this as much as we can. Food insecurity, a huge issue here on our campus, as well as in our local community. Weight stigma, this is also known as weight discrimination. Very, very real and very prevalent form of discrimination. So we talk about this and its implications socially as well as behaviorally. Dieting and why not to diet, that is definitely addressed as well. And looking also at that healthy aging. So this piggybacks nicely with Dr. Hall and looking at considerations for aging, not just from the nutrition standpoint, but these social and behavioral factors that can lead to healthy, long quality of life. So bottom line, a lot of relevant topics. It's been a fun one to create. I did want to show you all a couple of the projects, or just mention them here, that are more at that applied learning aspect. The students will all participate in a 4-hour volunteer activity where they're going to be serving with a food or nutrition or health agency. And the project itself will consist of them doing a brief presentation and also some reflective elements about their own experiences within that community agency. And then they'll also do a reflection project over their own diet and looking at it, not so much how many grams of this and that are you eating, but more what are your influences? What has affected you to eat in this particular way, shape, or form? So we're excited about offering these. The course itself is it's online right now, and we are offering it fall and then spring and summer. As I mentioned, we're in week 4 and it's going quite well. And the class did have a few openings left. We had set our maximum capacity at 50 and we did hit it, but then there's always a few drops in there. So I think we're about 47. So I'm excited that we get to share this information with so many students. So the last item I wanted to share with you here are a couple of certificates that we offer in our programs. These are both newer, just over the past couple of years, so you may not be familiar with them. The one on the left, the Foundations of Nutrition. This is a certificate to help students really have a grasp of nutrition and its applications. You can see the courses listed there. We can take this 130, the Gen Ed course, as well as our 200 level. This is a more science-based nutrition course, and then several of our 300 level courses. There are certainly some others that can fall into here as well. I just listed the ones that seem to be the most popular of our courses. So this is a really neat opportunity. I know some students are required for their majors to take 240 and 334. So they just take an additional 2 courses for the certificate. On the right-hand side is the Cultural Competence Certificate. This is a certificate that is designed for students who are interested in food and culture and really how they interconnect. Also, this includes an element of study away, which is something that we found to be quite fun for students. The requirements are either the 130 or 240. So we do want some sort of background information with nutrition, and then the food and culture course. And then they can choose from 6 credits of the other courses you see listed. The study away does not have to be within our program or our department. This can be study away in other programs. And we've had some students do that where they have studied away in Spain for their Spanish minor. They count that there, and we can also count those credits for this cultural competence certificate. So something to consider if you have students who are interested in study away and who would like to potentially merge that, if you will, with nutrition and food and culture. We do offer, just the last tidbit here with these certificates, we do offer them online, except for the study away. They will have to study away in that sense. But the other courses are a combination of seated or online, and if necessary, they can certainly complete them online. So we are excited to offer these certificates. I think they're going to add some specialized knowledge and skills to our students. If you're interested in learning more, certainly feel free to reach out to myself. Our webpage is a great source of information as well. Nutrition and dietetics, we're now based out of public health and sports medicine, which is a change. We were out of biomedical sciences for decades. We're now in public health, sports medicine, and we have all of our information there. So certainly do reach out if you have questions or type them into our chat box as well.
Thank you, Dr. Novotny. Our final academic presenter is going to be Dr. Berkowitz with Religious Studies. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to him. Dr. Berkowitz.
Okay, it looks like I'm having trouble sharing my screen. So I will just go ahead and talk about what we have planned, what is new in religious studies. And basically what we have is a renumbered, retitled course that's in the general education program and a new undergraduate certificate. And more information on these 2 items will be emailed to you. So in our gen ed curriculum, we have a course that is now numbered REL 110, and it's called World Religions. This is what was formerly known as REL 210, Paths of World Religions. And so some changes have been made, mostly to the title and the number, although there is a different catalog description. We've had some people that used to teach the course have left, and so we've got new instructors, and we wanted to indicate that this is a course that even first-year students can take. I know in the past there was some confusion that a 200 level course might be too advanced for a first-year student, and that is certainly not the case. But to make that clear, we've renumbered it to 110. Kind of gave it a nice snappy title of World Religions, made it short and sweet. And this is a course where it counts in the focus on cultural competence and public affairs in our gen ed curriculum. In Core 42, it counts under the humanities area. It can be counted in the College of Business's globalization requirement, and it's a course that also can count in the global studies major and the diversity studies minor. And so there's a number of ways in which a course that looks at the different religions across the world can be useful to students. As far as the undergraduate certificate is concerned, this is a new certificate, interdisciplinary undergrad certificate between religious studies and psychology and gerontology. And it's in mental health and spirituality. And the point of this course, this collection of courses, is to study the relationship between psychology and religion as it relates to human development and human flourishing. And so the idea for this is that students who are interested in either mental health and or spirituality can put together a number of courses that addresses the issues that contribute to how people kind of fare in their lives. It is a 15 credit hour certificate, a max of 9 credits in one department, 6 in the other. And there are a variety of courses, both in the psychology department, including a couple of gerontology courses, as well as religious studies courses that look at how mental health and spirituality are related, kind of challenges that people might face in their lives, into their mental well-being, as well as things related to how they identify. So these are courses that I think many students enjoy. And right now we just sort of figured out how they can fit together to give a kind of specialization for students. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. Email, stop me on the campus, anything like that. Be happy to talk more. So thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Berkowitz. And just as a reminder, Dr. Berkowitz did provide a couple PDFs covering both that course and the certificate that will be emailed out to all attendees after today's forum. So you will be getting those via email. And then finally, I'm going to turn it over to Tammy Dixon, who's the Assistant Director of the Counseling Center.
I'll unmute first, and then I'll try to share my screen. Okay, are you seeing my presenter slides? See if I can.
Yeah, but we're also seeing the future one.
Okay, I don't know how to change that.
I think in the display settings at the top.
There we go.
Yeah, I think there's a way there if you use that drop down arrow and then swap presenter view and slideshow the top. There you go.
Perfect, perfect. Like Justin said, I'm Tammy Dixon. I'm the Assistant Director in the Counseling Center, and we have a new model that we have rolled out for for students this year, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's been going well. So I wanted to let everyone know about it. But first I want to let you know about our staff members. We have 7 senior staff members at the moment. We do have a few openings right now. So if you know any counselors that want to work on a college setting, please send them our way. But these are our senior staff members. Rhonda Leslie is our director. Jane Hinkey is a clinician up here. Kiara Chiterio is also a clinician. Christy Fletcher is our victim services and advocacy specialist. And then we have 2 diversity initiatives clinicians, Nia Morgan and Divya Thacker. So I like to share their pictures so people know who's in our office at the moment and who's helping our students when they come in. So here is our new personalized care model. And this model came about because for the past few years, I'm sure you've had students coming in your office in the fall saying, well, the counseling center has a wait list. And this is our answer to that. It's a new model that focuses on the student creating a personalized experience for them. So when students come in, they set up their care plan with a clinician. And these are the different areas that our care plan covers. So they'll come in for this initial consultation, and then we might have them engage in services on a variety of different levels. What we have been offering in the past is all of this side over here, the individual therapy, specialized therapy, crisis services. Those are not changing. Those are staying the same. But now we're offering all of these opportunities to our students. So I'm going to kind of walk you through what that may look like. For the students' experience, the first time they come in, they'll meet with about a clinician for about 30 minutes. They can either schedule that appointment or they can walk in. We have walk-in times available every day so that we can meet the students where they're at. They'll develop a personalized care plan. They will receive, if they come in, they'll receive a paper copy and an electric copy. But if we meet them on Zoom, then it'll be just an electronic copy that has everything that we've talked about during that 30 minutes. So if they say that they've forgotten, they do have written record if you ever talk to a student after that initial consultation. We do schedule a follow-up session with each student that's been in. So if we have a student that comes in and we assign them informational self-help or interactional self-help, and they're not looking for individual counseling, we will follow up with them in 4 weeks to see how the resources we provided to them are going for them. So each student will have a second touch point. If that student decides that they're going into individual counseling, we do offer the 8 sessions, but they will also have an intake, their first session, within a week to 2 weeks out. So that's their touch point. This is what their personalized care plan looks like. Like I said, that we will include any information that we talk about onto this care plan, and then they'll know who they're meeting with and the next time they're meeting. So they shouldn't feel lost after they come in for the first time. To give you some ideas about what those different categories look like, one option for care or services is informational self-help. So that's where we provide different videos that could be helpful to them, maybe different apps that provides information about mental health. TED Talks has been really popular. A lot of the students are liking those, or even podcasts. One of the apps that we are using in the counseling center pretty regularly is WellTrack, and that has different lessons on different mental health areas. Plus it has some other options, which I'll go through here in a moment. But you might have received an email or may have seen it advertised. So we're really encouraging students to utilize that app. But we have others as well. So WellTrack offers a variety of different services on that app. You can see that has a Zen room. So if you have a student who's having difficulty composing themselves or is upset, you can pull out that WellTrack app and have them do some mindfulness or meditation right there. So that's been really helpful in sessions and with students with anxiety. It has a mood check where they can check in their different moods each day. It even has a scheduler. So we have them create a schedule that includes their self-care or even having fun. So they do have a calendar on that, so that can help with individuals who are a little disorganized. and then a thought diary for those who have some negative thoughts. So there are a lot of different options in that app. So you will hopefully get that. I sent Justin a bunch of things to include in the email, and that was one of those. So interactional self-help is another option for services, and that is where the student actually interacts with the resource that we provide to them. So a lot of those are apps or websites, or are different events that we offer. So for instance, we have, we meet students in the MRC. We try to meet students where they're at. So we do have different times that we're in the MRC. You can see that flyer on the left for conversations with a counselor. And then we do have a depression screening day that's coming up on October 6th, right before fall break, right? So that's a great opportunity for students to come and check if they're having some concerns, or even staff members. So that's another option in that area. We also have peer support. So Together All is another service that the Counseling Center is starting to utilize this year, trying to get the word out, but it's a website where students can create an anonymous name and they can go in and share kind of how they're doing. And then their peers can come in and say, hey, me too, today's been a bad day too, or here's what I do when I'm feeling that way. So it's social support, peer support. There are licensed clinicians that follow it to make sure that anything that's risky, they will let us know about, or they will manage, but they also encourage interaction on those posts so that students aren't just left when they're sharing without any response. And coming in the spring of 2022, actually that'd be spring of 2023, we are currently recruiting for mental health ambassadors. We hope to have some face-to-face peer support. These mental health ambassadors will be going around providing information about our services, but they'll also be having one-on-one conversations with students. So we are currently recruiting for that. So if you have any students that come through and you're like, oh, they'd be great at that, please let them know. You'll get a flyer about that as well, or you can contact me and I can give you more information. They will be trained, I promise. So that's November's job. And then we do have face-to-face psychoeducational workshops that we're providing. This is also new, but you can see the topics under the fall 2022 down at the bottom. Anybody can attend those workshops, but they're being offered twice a month. So each semester. So different staff members are providing those workshops, and they're on all the topics that we see that come through our office. So these are based on the personal concerns that get presented the most frequently. So as you can see, we have grief and loss, we have diversity, mental health, perfectionism, managing anxiety, depression, and healthy relationships, as well as our mindfulness, yoga, and learning how to regulate emotions. So those have been pretty well attended so far. We're all in our first workshop we're right there, either offering it or just passed it, and they have been successful at this point. So but all the students have to do is go to our website to sign up, or they can go to that link and sign up for that workshop for that. Or we have a QR code. I keep forgetting about our QR code. So these flyers are all over campus. Hopefully you received one. If you haven't, let me know and I'd be happy to send it to you. But it does have a QR code where students can sign up for those workshops. And we do have some expert assistant e-support where Body U is our main program that we use for that. If a student, or actually anybody in the state of Missouri, it doesn't have to be a student, it can be anyone, as long as they're a Missouri resident, can go on, complete the screening. And it was originally created for body image, body concerns, eating concerns, but now they cover all types of mental health concerns. So anxiety, depression, body image, and eating concerns are definitely a part of that. After the screening, the program puts you into a different program, which could be several weeks in length with a coach, or you could just get some informational videos, those type of things. So there's different modules that they put students in, or whoever takes that assessment. Very helpful. It's created by the Eating Disorders Coalition of Missouri. And then we do have some groups. All of these groups are closed and students can only access them through our office, through through that initial consultation, but we are offering a group for our students who are transgender, non-binary, or questioning. We do have a group that learns about skills of how to regulate emotions. A lot of our trauma students our students who've had trauma go into that skills group, but it can be for anybody who comes in and wants to learn how to regulate emotions. We do not have a recovery group at the moment, but that is our goal for the future. We do have a connection group because we find loneliness is one of the presenting concerns that we talk to students about. And so we have a group that learns how to connect with other students. They talk about different ways to connect on campus or in the Springfield community. And then we do have a support group for our individuals in the BIPOC community. So, and then, like I said, we do have our 8 sessions that students can utilize of individual counseling that's more brief in nature. And we do have our specialized therapy. So EMDR is a trauma-based therapy. We do offer that up here. Substance use and assessment and treatment currently on hold, but we do have some resources that we can help students find if that's what they're needing. And then we do provide couples counseling as long as both students or both individuals are part of our students at Missouri State. And then our crisis services. If an individual's in crisis, they can walk in anytime and we're going to see them. So that hasn't changed. If you have a student in your office who's in crisis, please walk them over, call us, send them over, we'll get them set up. If it's after hours, they can utilize protocol, which they just call our office and hit 0 and they'll talk to a licensed clinician. Okay, so that's all the information about our new model, and I'm happy to take any questions when we get to that portion.
Thank you, Tammy. A lot of changes, a lot of new over in the Counseling Center. Before we jump into questions, I'm going to quickly share my screen if I can do so. And briefly discuss something new within our office as far as something that came about, a positive change, if that could be possible during the pandemic. And so what you're looking at here is the Academic Advising and Transfer Center's webpage. And historically, if a student wanted to declare or change their major or declare a certificate or minor, they would have to come to our office to do so. But now we have an online request form. So if you're meeting with a student in your office and they want to declare that religion and mental health certificate, they can do that online through this request form right here. They can also do it via mobile with QR code. So again, if they're in your office, they can scan that QR code and submit that request online, and that's processed through our office. This is something, again, that's easily accessible, and they can still, if a student's like, no, I want to go see the AATC, I want to find that old building that is hard to find, they can still come to our office and do so. Or they can also email us at advise@missouri-state.edu. Again, that's found on our webpage. It can be helpful for helping students in the moment if they're ready to declare their major, declare a certificate, or change their major. Looking ahead or looking at the chat feature, I don't see any questions, but that doesn't mean somebody doesn't have any questions. So I do want to open it up. If you want, if you have a question, you can unmute yourself and ask. Who wants to be first, or do I have to start calling on people?
Okay, I'll jump in so you don't have to start calling on people. It's Ross. My question is regarding the English 105 course. Since that's a 5 credit hour course, just a little bit more, Dr. Weaver, if you could describe maybe a little bit more about the structure of the class and some of the assignments, some of the projects, if you're familiar with some of those additional details in English 105.
Sure, Ross. English 105, as I mentioned earlier, is essentially English 110. So they do all of the exact same assignments that a student in English 110 would do. However, we build in a lot of scaffolding. In other words, they do a lot more journaling. They do a lot more metacognition about the assignments that they're doing. We build in outlining skills, for instance. They do a lot more one-on-one conferencing with their instructor. And those additional hours also occur in a computer lab. So the faculty member can actually walk around and provide immediate assistance as the student is working on a different project, for instance. So again, it's the same class, but we build in a lot more activities to help scaffold the student to be able to accomplish those major assignments that they would do in English 110. So a lot more individualized assistance and in a computer lab and working with their peers. Does that help a little bit?
Yes, thank you.
All right, Dr. Weaver, we have another question for you. It is a hypothetical question though. So as an example, if a student takes the ACT twice and gets a lower English score the second time, does the English department accept the highest English score or the most recent score?
That is a fantastic question that I would need to punt to the registrar about, because it is automatically programmed when the ACT score comes in to record that. My guess is it would record the most current score, but I'm not 100% sure about that answer. I would need to check with the registrar about that. I don't know if they have it set up so that it automatically takes the highest score that is recorded. I'm not entirely sure. That's a fantastic question. I will see if I can find an answer to that. I don't know how they have the behind the scenes coding working for that particular piece. What I can say though, if for instance, it is the most latest score that they record and the student does have a higher English score on an earlier attempt at the ACT, if the student simply calls me and can show evidence of that, I'm happy to go in and process an override.
Thank you. There is another question for Dr. Hall. They would like more information about the JAIR 180 Aging First Aid Certificate. And if they're requesting something that maybe you have a PDF of,
do they want me to show them right now? I can share my screen and
yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. So we are on the Gerontological Society of America website, and Ageism First Aid. Let's see, I'm going to go to the bottom here. It's a copyrighted course by the GSA. It was a project initially funded by a grant from the Retirement Research Foundation. And let's see, it's been around for a few years. And the creators were Lorenda Reynolds, Tina Kruger-Newsham, Joanne Montpere, Becky Knight, and then there were reviewers as well. And so we are, we as in Missouri State University Gerontology Program, we are a member institution. So we do not have to pay the $20 or $30, rather under institution, students are able to pay $15. So again, we don't have a textbook in that course. We have different articles that we read. So students know upfront that $15 will be spent on this online module. So let me move this. Module 1 is foundation knowledge. Okay, so it provides facts about older adults in the aging process. And helps you understand that there's a lot of misinformation about aging. Module 2 is ageism explained. So sometimes we don't even realize that we're partaking in ageist talk actions. And so ageism awareness will help you avoid ageism and protect you against the effects of ageism as you grow older, because we know that is one of the most kind of damaging to identity, is to fear getting older. If you fear it, then you're probably going to have a very unhappy later life. Module 3 is respectful, effective, and appropriate communication training. And so it will help you become a more effective communicator with your family, in your community, and at work. So again, students are able to do all of this online. We have courses at MSU in our major that deal with all of these, but again, this is a tight program that introduces students to all of these things. And so then our courses, our 300, 400, 500 level courses, will go more deeply into these things. I hope that's helpful. Are there more specific questions that I can help with?
We'll keep monitoring the chat feature in case more come up, Dr. Hall. We did get a question for Dr. Novotny.
Yes.
Question is,
Oh, go ahead.
I'm going to read the question out loud.
Oh, sure.
So, as we build our education abroad programs, how can we coordinate so that students may make them count towards their nutrition credits?
That's a great question. And what we can do is just reach out to our department or our programs, nutrition and dietetics, and we can work with you individually to make sure that that is going to be fulfilled appropriately. So yeah, just reaching out directly either to myself or our program director, Sarah Murray, and we can go through the steps there, but that would be great.
All right, thank you. Unless we have any last minute questions or second questions, I want to thank you all for attending and participating, both presenters and attendees. I want to turn it over to Ross now for some final remarks. Again, thank you.
Yeah, thanks everyone for attending our first advisor forum for the fall semester. Thank you, Justin, for coordinating with all the speakers today, and speakers, thank you for presenting the information. I did want to let everyone know that this fall, our advisor forum schedule is a hybrid schedule. We are returning to some in-person events. We do not plan to record those sessions, so we will continue to record the Zoom advisor forums and post to the Most State Advising YouTube channels. But the advisor forums that would be held in person, if that is a topic that you're interested in and you are able to attend, please do so, since that will be the only opportunity that you have for that particular advisor forum. Our next advisor forum is scheduled next Monday. It's going to be a general education sampler. So Jenny Capps, an academic advisor in the Academic Advising and Transfer Center, will be facilitating that session, and it will be offered via Zoom. So I hope to see many of you again next Monday, September 19th at noon for our Zoom advisor forum. Again, thank you all for being here, and have a wonderful afternoon.